Hello guys, let's learn about centrifugal pump today. This is today is all about centrifugal pump and the important questions that can be asked regarding centrifugal pump. I have already mentioned here. We will be discussing one by one, and so let's get started. Thank you. Here I have made centrifugal pump diagram. This diagram you can make while giving interview if they ask, because this is the same diagram which I have made when I was asked in interview, and within a span of 30 seconds I made without labeling. Okay, so and he was very much interested in direction of the fluid. What is centrifugal pump? Centrifugal pump is the will be the our first question. Before that, I would like to tell you this thing. So this is all about focused on GME interview. Okay, recently I have cleared EMA interview and will be appearing for Synergy interview. Let's see how it goes. And so what I have observed that in most interview, if they are asking about pump, they ask about pump because there are so much application of pump on board ship. Is it or not? Yeah. So this is the genuine question that can be asked. So you have to be like perfect in that. You should know every question that can be asked, and you should be able to answer on the spot. Okay. So starting with the first question, what is centrifugal pump? If interviewer will ask, so we will be saying that simple and layman language that centrifugal pump is a type of rotodynamic pump which work on the principle of centrifugal force. What is centrifugal force? I am just telling you, no need to, you have to just explain that this much only, but centrifugal force is mv square by r. Okay, r m omega square, where m is the mass of impeller, v is the tangential velocity, r is the radius of impeller, here omega is the angular velocity of impeller. So this is the formula of centrifugal force. Okay, so as I have said that the centrifugal pump is the type of rotodynamic pump. Let's understand what the terms rotodynamic means. Roto means rotation and dynamic means motion, matlab motion in rotational direction. Okay, which work on the principle of centrifugal force, means there will be the exertion of centrifugal force like in this direction. Okay, this is centrifugal force, and due to this only the water will coming from here, eye of the impeller will get force and will be pushed towards the discharge side. Now coming to the parts of centrifugal pump. Sometimes it is directly asked, tell me part of centrifugal pumps. Okay, parts of centrifugal pump. So I would suggest you, whenever you will tell the parts of or components of centrifugal pump, start either from one side, like from downside or upside. Then in that case you will be not forgetting the things. Okay, so I think I should mention here the seals. Okay, just wait guys. Seals or stuffing box. So starting with the down, this is some where the water or the fluid is there for being sucked. Okay, here we have foot valve and strainer from downside. What is a foot valve? Foot valve is a non-return type valve. Non-return type valve means it will travel it controls the fluid only in one direction. If fluid is coming up, then it is automatically closed. It will automatically close. It will not able to go down. Okay, and it is very much required that for centrifugal pump, non-return type. Now along with we have strainer. Strainer is nothing but a filter. Okay, so for any impurities in the fluid, for that strainer is here. Now we are having suction pipe. Suction pipe, okay, going up, it is the eye, known as eye of impeller. It is the region where negative pressure is created. Okay, we'll discuss later how negative pressure is created. Now we have impeller. Okay, impeller is like this, and we have impeller blades, and we have backward curved blade. You know why backward curved blade? There are two reasons which I know. The first reason is that it traps more amount of fluid, and now the second reason is it minimizes turbulence. And I would say you should avoid this factor, turbulence factor, because you will be, in some cases, if you go deep down, you can get trapped by the interviewer that what is the turbulence and why it is happening, what it can cause. So the second reason what I told is turbulence. It minimizes turbulence to increase efficiency. Now we have volute casing. This is volute casing, delivery pipe, discharge valve. In starting we shut the discharge valve. We will be discussing also that why we shut discharge valve. Okay, have I missed anything? Yes, I have missed. Here it is seals at eye of impeller, like here, since it is a 2D picture, so basically pump is 3D. So there is a shaft going in that. Okay, consider this is a volute casing, this is eye of impeller. A shaft is going, motor shaft, that is connected to the motor. Okay, along with the bearings. Now in this motor shaft, this shaft and volute casing, it got some spaces. This is spaces. In that spaces, seal, there is a seal, stuffing box. There are two types of seals, mechanical seal and gland packing. Okay, cheap, and mechanical seal is costly, and gland packing required more maintenance, mechanical seal required less maintenance. For other application we use different types of seal. Okay, now guys, parts done, 1 2. Now coming to this question, how negative pressure is created. I think for Anglo it is very important to know, and mostly for Braganja sir, he definitely asked this question, how negative pressure is created, discharge pressure, effect of airs. So listen carefully. So the first of all, negative pressure is created where? Negative pressure is created at the eye of impeller. How it is created? Okay, let's discuss that, how it is created. Okay, suppose when we start motor, okay, before starting motor we prime the pump. Okay, priming pump means filling of the, we will be here discussing in detail, but understand for the time being that the pump will be filled prior by the liquid fully. Every fluid in it, there is fluid, casing, suction pipe, delivery valve, everywhere is fluid. So now imagine when we start the motor, okay, impeller will start rotating, centrifugal force will be exerted by impeller, and when centrifugal force will be exerted by impeller, the fluid get pushed toward the discharge side of the volute casing. See, this is the discharge side of volute casing. Fluid is getting pushed. Okay, when fluid is getting pushed, it created a wide space here. See, wide space. Okay, and this is nothing but a negative pressure region, low pressure region. And as we know, fluid travel from high pressure to low pressure. So here it will be high pressure, here negative low pressure is created. So fluid will get sucked through the eye of impeller and the process continue. This is how negative pressure is created. And If you want a proper sentence, I can also tell that. So you can say like this: when we start the motor, the impeller rotates and centrifugal force exerted, due to which fluid displaces radially outward toward the discharge side of volute casing, due to which wide space is created at the eye of impeller, that is the negative pressure region, low pressure region, and due to which fluid is getting sucked into the casing. Got it? Now moving with the next question: how discharge pressure is created? So when we start the motor, the first thing is understand from the starting. When we start the motor, the impeller rotates, and when the impeller rotates, it imparts kinetic energy to the fluid particle because of centrifugal force exerted by impeller, and due to which fluid gets displaces radially outward toward the discharge side of volute casing. Okay, and as we can see, the volume of volute casing keeps on increasing, so the kinetic energy of the fluid particle, as the volume is increasing or area is increasing, so firstly velocity of fluid particle will decrease, and according to the equation of continuity, area increases, velocity decreases, AB equal to constant. Is it or not? Area is increasing, so velocity will decrease. Velocity decreasing means kinetic energy will decrease. And the moment kinetic energy decreases, the pressure energy will increase. Okay, because of the energy conservation principle, or Bernoulli equation, that is based on energy conservation principle, which says that pressure energy plus kinetic energy plus potential energy equal to constant. Okay, so kinetic energy decreasing, potential energy increasing, going toward the discharge side. Kinetic energy decreasing, pressure energy increasing. So this is how discharge pressure is getting created. And why we neglect this potential energy? Because there is not that much height difference. For a larger height difference, we consider this potential energy. Okay, this is the answer, that how is discharge pressure is getting created in centrifugal pump. Now coming to the next question, that what are the effects of air inside centrifugal pump? This is one of the important questions you must know. This is the selection question, so that's why I have marked a star here. So let's understand this effect of air inside centrifugal pump. So what are the effects of having air inside centrifugal pump? What will happen if there is a air inside centrifugal pump? Okay, so understand it by starting. Okay, I start it like only that when motor start. Okay, so when motor start, the impeller will rotate. Okay, the impeller will rotate and exert centrifugal force. This is clear. Now the density of air is 1000 times lesser than the density of water. Density of air is 1000 times lesser than the density of water, and it is compressible. Since air is compressible and density of air is 1000 times lesser than the density of water, so what happens is the amount of centrifugal force exerted by the impeller will decrease by 1000 times. 1000 times it will decrease. Let's see how. As we know, centrifugal force formula mv square by r. Okay, now consider this m, M is nothing but rho into V. Volume is constant. Okay. Let's say, do not talk about this. Talk about this. Rho, density. Density is decreasing by 1000 times. Okay. So the amount of centrifugal force will be decreased by 1000 times. So the amount of centrifugal force exerted by impeller will decrease by 1000 times. So what happens is, it will not able to create negative pressure at the eye of impeller, and so fluid will not get sucked. So impeller will run dry. And hence we can say hence discharge will not take place. There will be no discharge anymore. It will running dry. So we can say that the efficiency, pumping capacity and efficiency will decrease drastically. The first reason is that effect of air inside centrifugal pump is the efficiency of pump will decrease drastically, and due to this dry run, it will cause overheating. It will cause overheating, and that can further damage to the pump. Understand it? Got it? So this is a short and concise explanation. This is made after so much thinking. I concised and confined it. If any doubt, please ask in comments. If anything I have spoken wrong also, please mention in comment, because I am also learner, so I can make mistake. Now coming to the next, and that's why priming is very important. That's why, because of this thing, this effect of air and all, priming is very important, and priming concept is come into light because of this. Priming is what? Priming is the process of removing air or gases from the system, from the pump, and filling with the same liquid, and which is to be pumped. Like, there are various types of priming. Now types of priming is that the first is manual priming. In manual priming, there is a priming port. Okay, there is a priming port somewhere in at a site of volute casing, suppose here. Okay, there is a priming port there. Before starting the pump, we manually fill the fluid, liquid, in casing, in impeller, like in casing, everywhere, in delivery pipe, in suction pipe, everywhere. And the next one is using another pump, using external source. On board ship, we use vacuum pump. It is further another pump which is fitted at the suction side of the centrifugal pump. At the suction side of the centrifugal pump, which is fitted, which is a reciprocating pump for the priming purpose. On board ship, vacuum pump. Okay. Now this cavitation, we will be understanding the cavitation. What is cavitation? What are the effect of cavitation? How dangerous cavitation is? So now cavitation. What is cavitation? So cavitation is the formation of vapor bubble. Yes, and when this vapor bubble created, when the pressure of the pump drops below the vapor pressure of the fluid. vapor pressure of the fluid. Okay, now let's understand what is the concept, why dropping of the pressure of the pump below the vapor pressure of the fluid leads to the formation of vapor bubbles. It is very much simple. First understand what is the vapor pressure of the fluid. Vapor pressure of the fluid is like, you can understand that if there is a fluid, okay, there is some fluid in a container, okay, so there will be always some evaporation and condensation will be happening. Yes, with at any temperature this is always evaporation and condensation is happening. Evaporation, condensation. So due to this evaporation, vapor will be forming, and this will be applying some pressure to the container, and vapor pressure is that pressure when this rate of evaporation will be equal to the rate of condensation, like when the equilibrium is established. At that time the pressure calculated of this vapor and all will be the vapor pressure of the fluid. Okay, now what was the original question? How this vapor pressure of the fluid, because of the lowering of the pressure in the pump, leads to the formation of vapor bubble. Yes, it is what happening. So the fluid is getting converted into the this, suppose it is water is forming vapor. Water is forming vapor means it is boiling, guys, it is boiling, and you know how boiling process happens. Here we have water in surrounding, I am talking about in surrounding, you know, in surrounding it's atmospheric pressure that is 1 atm. Here we are having water, suppose it is in container, we are boiling it, and this water will have some vapor pressure, here vapor pressure, okay, and here atmospheric pressure, and here we are heating it. When we will heating it, the vapor pressure of the fluid will be increasing, the vapor pressure of the fluid will be increasing, and at the moment this vapor pressure of the fluid overcome to the atmospheric pressure, like overcome this atmospheric pressure, it will be starting converted into the vapor, okay, vapor. So this is how boiling happens. So the same in a case of pump, the same analogy we can apply. The pressure in the pump, whenever drops below the vapor pressure of the fluid in the pump, then the fluid will get converted into the vapor and the formation of vapor bubble will take place. Okay, now we are going to understand what it causes. Okay, what it causes. Now this vapor bubbles, suppose this vapor bubble is here, what it causes? Now this vapor bubble formed, okay, this vapor bubble formed, mostly I should show here, yeah, this vapor bubble formed, okay, vapor bubbles, and when this vapor bubble enters into the high pressure region. What is high pressure region, guys? In a centrifugal pump is the discharge side of centrifugal pump. When this vapor bubble enters into the high pressure region, it causes impingement action on a impeller blade. Impingement action, in simple language, impingement action, or you can say it pitting action. pitting action. Pitting action, impingement action is what? Like it will be hitting hard, okay, and it will eject some material from it, and it will loosen the strength of impeller, okay. So when and how this is happening? When this enters into the high pressure region, this vapor bubble burst, boom, and cause impingement action, pitting action, and that loses the strength of impeller, which further result in the shorting the span of this centrifugal pump. Also, the efficiency of be decreasing because of this in a long run, okay. So this was all about cavitation. If you didn't get to understand, please put in comment. I will make you understand in comment also. Will explain. Yes. Now we have understand how cavitation happens and what are the effect of cavitation, what it causes. Now understand how cavitation can be prevented. To understand that, we have to understand the NPSS concept. NPSS concept, okay. So let's understand this. So NPSS concept, okay. First understand what is NPSS. Starting with the full form, NPSS stands for net positive suction head. Net positive suction head. Net positive suction head. Net positive suction head. It represents the amount of pressure head that is present at the inlet of the pump, which is supposed to above the vapor pressure of the fluid. The vapor pressure of the fluid. Otherwise, there is a chances of cavitation, okay. As we have earlier discussed this, that when the pressure in the pump drops, or you can also say that like the vapor pressure of the fluid goes above to the pressure in the pump. Mostly conventionally we say that lowering of suction pressure in a case of cavitation, okay. So let's understand further it. Yes, NPSS, net positive suction head, represent the amount of pressure head present at the inlet side of the pump, which is supposed to above the vapor pressure of the fluid, okay. And it is very much important for the smooth operation of the pump. It is very much important for the smooth operation of the pump without experiencing cavitation, okay. Now there is one condition here for smooth operation to prevent cavitation, is that NPSS available should be always greater than the NPSS required, okay. It is given by the manufacturer, like it depends on the design of the pump and mentioned by the manufacturer on the pump, mentioned by manufacturer, okay, mentioned by manufacturer. And this NPSS required means, and actually NPSS required, it is our thing, like from which height you are operating it. If NPSS available is not that large and you are operating for a bigger height, like you are sucking fluid from very lower, then there is a chances of cavitation. So NPSS available knowing NPSs available is very necessary. All right. Now the next is very important. Why we keep discharge valve shut? Why we keep discharge valve shut during starting of centrifugal pump? Why? Is it or not? In a case of positive displacement pump, we do not, but in a case of centrifugal pump, we do. The question is why? So, the reason for shutting the discharge valve during starting, there are basically two reasons. First, to save the power consumption. Yes, otherwise power will be consumed more, money will be costing more. And the second is to prevent motor from overheating, or say to increase the lifespan of motor and all like that. Otherwise motor will get damaged early if we do not keep. The windings can get damaged because of this overheating insulations windings. Okay, now understand this. Let's understanding starting from the starting of motor. When we start motor, there is a starting torque required. To rotate the impeller from the rest position, and to bring it at the fixed RPM. Starting torque required. So initially it draws a lot of current because of the inertia of impeller. Inertia means mass and all. If the impeller will be larger, then the current drawn for starting torque will be the larger. So, and now we also know that in a case of centrifugal pump, when the flow is more, the current drawn, the power consumed by the motor will be more. This is the characteristic curve of centrifugal pump. Okay, here you can see that flow is more, the current drawn by motor is more. See, linearly increasing. Okay, so and that's why we keep discharge valve shut during starting of centrifugal pump. Okay, to prevent this much excessive amount of current that is required for the flow. When the flow is zero, the current is consuming, the current is drawing by the motor is for the starting torque. Okay, and if we suppose we do not keep the discharge valve shut, it will draw a huge amount of current in starting. Add this, this is enough to damage the insulation by overheating. So I think we understand that why we are doing this. And one extra information, that on board ship we keep discharge valve shut for 15 minutes, max to max 15 minutes. After 15 minutes, like in starting, the ampere meter, like which measures the current, it shows a lot of, this will be little larger here. Okay, lot of current drawn by the motor. When it come to the fixed RPM, the amperage after 15 minutes gets normal. Okay, something, it's an analogy only. Then we got to know from the amperage that now we can open our discharge valve. Now the last one is that the application of centrifugal pump, where we use this centrifugal pump. as you have all known that in centrifugal pump Q is the king. Q is nothing but discharge. Okay, so for high discharge we use with centrifugal pump. Okay, for high discharge and low pressure application of centrifugal pump on board ship, sea water line, in freshwater generator, in emergency fire pump, that fire pump, to also lubricating two-stroke main engine, we use centrifugal pump, because 13,000 up to 13,000 liter of lubricating oil is used on a daily basis to lubricate two-stroke main engine. Okay, so these are the applications of centrifugal pump. So I think I have completed all of the important interview questions and concepts for GME, mostly for GME, graduated marine engineering thing. And thank you. एक्टिंग कर रहा है, पर इसको बीच में हटाना, ग्रेसियसनेस होना चाहिए. So this was all about centrifugal pump, the important question that can be asked from centrifugal pump. All of the mostly, if you cover this basic main question, then you are done with centrifugal pump. Nothing far can be asked from this other than this question nowadays, because we have researched about many of the student testimonials, and we got to know about this main questions. Okay, so this was all about centrifugal pump. Thank you so much. This was Gyan Prakash signing off. Jai Mata Di.